He stood trembling, coffee cup in hand, staring at the woman who'd just walked into the restaurant. The elegant lady in a tailored suit, her hair perfectly styled, her watch worth more than his monthly salary. She was the last person he ever wanted to see again. But fate had a cruel way of serving surprises, just like the hot coffee about to spill from his shaking hands. "Excuse me," she said, her voice cold but familiar. Her eyes didn't recognize him, not yet. But he recognized her instantly. Claire. The CEO of one of the biggest corporations in the city. The same woman who'd once promised him forever before she walked away and left him drowning in debts, heartbreak, and the responsibility of raising their son alone. The tray in his hand wobbled as he moved closer. His heart was pounding, not from anger, but from a rush of emotions he'd buried for years. Every sleepless night, every tear his son shed asking why mommy never came back, every unpaid bill that forced him to work double shifts, everything came flooding back. And then, without thinking, the cup tilted. The steaming coffee splashed across her pristine white blouse. The restaurant gasped in unison. The CEO froze, her face twisting in shock. I'm so sorry, ma'am," he said quickly, though his voice cracked. "It was an accident." But deep down, both of them knew it wasn't. Claire blinked, still processing. "Do you have any idea who I am?" she demanded, pulling tissues from her purse. Her tone carried the kind of arrogance that came from years of power and prestige. "I do," he said quietly, looking her straight in the eye. "Better than you think." For a moment, she frowned, trying to place his face. Then realization dawned. Her lips parted slightly. "Daniel?" He nodded. The silence that followed was heavy. The restaurant manager rushed over, apologizing profusely and offering compensation, but Daniel held up his hand. "It's fine," he said. "It was my fault." Claire stood speechless. She hadn't seen him in nearly 8 years, not since the day she'd left him with their newborn son, choosing her career over her family. She'd told herself it was necessary, that Daniel would never understand her ambitions. But looking at him now, tired eyes, wrinkled uniform, yet still carrying himself with quiet dignity, she felt something she hadn't in years. Shame. After she left, Daniel's world had collapsed. He'd sold their car to pay hospital bills when their baby got sick. He'd begged for night shifts, cleaned tables, washed dishes, all while raising little Ethan alone. But he never told his son the truth. He never told him his mother had chosen success over them. He just said she was busy saving the world. When Claire finally spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. "I didn't know you were here." Daniel smiled faintly. "I didn't know you cared." She looked down, guilt flooding her face. I thought I was doing what was best." "What was best for you?" he said softly, not accusing, just stating the truth. Claire's driver appeared, offering her a change of clothes from the car, but she waved him off. For the first time in years, she didn't want to be the CEO. She wanted to be the woman who had once loved the man standing before her. She started hesitantly. "Is Ethan okay?" Daniel's eyes softened. "He's a good kid. Smarter than me. Kind. He asks about you sometimes." Her throat tightened. "Does he hate me?" Daniel shook his head. "No. He doesn't know what happened. I didn't want him to." Claire's eyes filled with tears. The woman who could fire 100 employees without blinking was now trembling like a child. Can I see him?" she asked. Daniel hesitated. Years of pain whispered in his ear, telling him to say no. But another voice, his son's innocent laughter, spoke louder. "He's at home," he said finally. "If you really mean it, come by tomorrow." That night, Daniel sat by Ethan's bedside, watching him sleep. He thought about the years they'd survived together, the birthdays celebrated with dollar store candles, the nights he told bedtime stories about heroes who never gave up. He wondered if letting Claire back in would heal old wounds, or reopen them. The next day, there was a knock on the door. When he opened it, Claire stood there, holding a small toy airplane. "He used to love these," she said softly. Ethan peeked out from behind his dad's leg. "Dad, who's that?" Daniel smiled gently. "Someone who used to love you very much." Over the next few weeks, Claire began visiting more often. She cooked dinner, helped with homework, and took Ethan to the park. Slowly, she began to see what she'd missed: the laughter, the chaos, the small joys of being a mother. One evening, after putting Ethan to bed, she turned to Daniel. "I can't change the past," she said, tears glistening in her eyes. "But I want to make things right." Daniel nodded. "Then don't just say it. Prove it." Months passed, and she did. She offered to pay for Ethan's education, but Daniel refused charity. Instead, she used her influence to help him get a management job at a new cafe. Not because he needed saving, but because she wanted to walk beside him, not above him. The day the cafe opened, Ethan cut the ribbon, grinning from ear to ear. Claire and Daniel stood side by side, no longer as enemies, but as two broken people trying to rebuild something real. When customers asked how a simple waiter managed to open such a beautiful cafe, Daniel just smiled. "Because sometimes," he'd say, "spilling a little coffee helps clean up a mess you didn't know needed fixing." And as the camera zooms out, the story ends not with revenge, but redemption, a reminder that forgiveness is the strongest form of love. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories that remind us, no matter how bitter life gets, there's always a chance to start again. Red Heart Sparkles.